Persian.
Hello, everybody.
I'm the poet, she's the Persian. Okay, I'm just going to try and share it onto my page. So quick, say something, Ramak. Okay.
Yes, hello, hi people. Thanks for coming back. We are here again and we are actually really good because the lockdown almost finished. We're doing really good in Melbourne and the numbers really dropped.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to be free people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's the plan tonight, Cameron?
Oh, look, wait a second. No, I haven't finished. Keep talking.
Yeah.
You tell the plan.
Yeah, I tell the plan.
Okay.
So the plan is tonight we're going to do Ahmad Shamlou again, sharing another poem. And we're going to share a poem, obviously, from Cameron, which translated by me. And I'm always like behind the translation. I just translated actually. Started yesterday and I just, retouching it during the day today. And I asked my sister, she's my editor, and she really helped me, my sister Roya, and she gave me a really good advice. So basically, when I translate the poem, I just put it in, I send it to her and she just give me advice and her ideas, and that's really useful and good. Thank you, Roya. I love you.
Yeah.
And
well, can I say on that, I love... it's because Roya is in Sweden. So here we are. It's truly international. You're from Iran. I'm from Hobart. Exotic Tasmania. Roya's in Sweden doing editorial response to your incredible translations. So, it is actually beautiful being so international. And that's the good thing about...
right.
Oh, do you want to fix me up? Okay.
you're okay. You look good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
And hello, Marula. Thank you. You've been so faithfully watching and supportive. So thank you for coming in again, Marula.
Hi, Marula.
You're probably our top fan. I don't know. Other than family, I think, Marula's probably our top fan. So
beautiful. Yeah. Salam Reza Jan. Salam Emetis.
And who was... We got some beautiful response from two people over the week. Can you remember who they were? Do you want to say thank you to them?
Thank you so much, Joe. I love you so much. If you are, I know you're listening to the podcast. You are not watching the live. So your comment was really beautiful, and I really appreciate that. And it's so encouraging,
Yeah, I know, when you get response.
Saying, those beautiful things. And thank you so much. I love you, and I hope you enjoyed this episode as well when you're listening to our podcast. And I had an email from a lady, an Iranian lady. Her name is her name was Anis. And that was such a beautiful email as well, because she was just talking about how the translation are beautiful.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that was really great. مرسی انیس جان، اگه ما رو گوش میکنی و هر جایی هستی میبوسمت و ممنون که این پیام گذاشتی، ایمیل زحمت کشتی، فرستادی و وقت گذاشتی و خیلی دلگرمی خوبیه وقتی که آدم‌ها یه چیزی که میدونن که خوبه رو به زبون میارن به جای اینکه تو دلشون نگه دارن. من اینو خیلی دوست دارم و ممنونم ازت.
And I just saw a few people popping in. So we've got Roya. We've already done a shout out to you, Roya. Thank you so much for helping translate this poem. And Reza and maybe Zainab, you might be there too. Hello, Reza and Zainab. Thanks for being so supportive. And I think I saw Vic Victoria come in. I know you've been watching and supporting, so thank you so much, Vic.
Hi, Vic.
So we're just doing a call out to all those people. So give us a little comment, because then we can go, oh, yes, we see you. But when we get into the actual show, we don't tend to comment on the comments, just because we're often talking about poetry, sharing poems. And hello, Michael. Nice to see you, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming and sharing some poetry with us tonight. That's beautiful. And now now I can't remember her name, but she's been really supportive in sharing our work onto the Persian Shoutouts. I think I saw Shoutouts. So, and thank you so much for the support that you've been giving us as well. So,
thank you. سلام شکوفه جان و مرسی بابت اینکه اومدی و ما رو داری تماشا می‌کنی.
Cool. Merci. All right. Well, I think we've got our nice little audience. So why don't we do the official start now? So here we are. I've got soju. You've got that's a big glass of wine. If you go through that whole thing tonight, it's going to get
This is
crazy.
nothing for me. I'm a big person. Look at my body.
Okay,
That's a
all
lot to
right.
me.
Okay.
I'm
So
Iranian.
okay, all right. So this is the Persian and the Poet. Oh, that was a good salamati. That was a good clink. Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
So cheers to you. So make sure you grab yourself a drink as well. And we've got two absolutely beautiful. Oh, I shouldn't really say that of my own poem, but it is a beautiful love poem. And we've got a beautiful love poem of mine and a beautiful love poem written by Ahmad Shamlou. So it's a night of love tonight. But the poem of mine is the first part of a poem. And then next week we'll be sharing part 2. And unfortunately part 2 gets dark. So maybe this will be the light, lovey week. And next week it might get pretty intense.
Yep.
But that's what poetry can be for. I think expressing those big emotions we have, those when we're feeling incredible joy and incredible love and connection, but also when we're feeling that incredible heartbreak and that incredible emptiness. Poetry can find the words for those intense emotions. So, is there anything else you want to say before we get into the poems?
Not really.
Okay, all right. Let me just make sure we're all set up here. Okay. So, actually, one interesting thing about this is that I've had a title for this poem, but upon hearing your translation and also you're struggling with the title I had, she came up with a better title. So I changed the title that actually reflects more what you could find in Farsi that captured the poem. So it's
You're welcome.
it's a new title. So the title is Petalled Pillows and Thorny Sheets, Part 1. All right, let me just... I want to try and do a good performance for you. So here we are. I'll just get it all ready. I've got to be on... got to get in the right mood. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Here we go. The look in your love eyes into me like sunshine spires. The lipness of your liking kisses me into oblivious murmurs. Your playful words life into my heart like summer kids into screaming pools. My need needs your need. Our sundown snuggles scrumptious me into golden syrup coziness. The warm adoration of your under midnight doona skin shivers me into pillow vows. My lusts for your lusts. All you're so talented applaud me into bubbly belief. All your love you as you are's passion me into a ballroom of the best of me's. Your love dances within me, waltzes through with stylish words, mumbos into my deepest dreams. My love loves your love.
دلدادگی نگاهت می شکافدم چونان تیغه نور خورشید. عشق بازی لبهایت مدهوش می کندم به سان زمزمه های فراموشی و بازیگوشی واژگانت خون می دواندم به سان فریاد کودکان تابستان به شوق آبتنی. محتاج به احتیاج توام. شیرینی آغوشت در طلایی بعد از ظهر شهدابیست دلچسب و گوارا و گرمای ستایندت از ورای تن برهنت می لرزاندم به سرایش عاشقانه های شبانه. هوسناک از هوس توام. ثنایت به قریهم هلهله میزند. ثنایت به قریهم هلهله میزند بر فوران باورم. مهرت به آنی که هستم می جوشدم به جویش آن برترین. عشقت درونم سما می کند با واژگانی آراسته به سان صوفی در ژرفای رؤیاهایم. عاشق به عشق توام.
My need needs your need.
محتاج به احتیاج توام.
My lust lusts for your lust.
هوسناک از هوس توام.
My love loves your love.
عاشق به عشق توام.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, that's challenging actually when we're doing live, for me at least, because you know is sometimes I get so emotional when sharing poems.
I saw you. You had an emotion. You had an emotion.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if just
No,
didn't
don't apologize for your
like,
emotions.
yeah,
You felt it, which is beautiful.
No, thank you. But because in the podcast, actually, I do it again. I just read the poem again because it's much cleaner and nicer.
But look, but also sometimes I have used the original, so it might work as it is. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, no,
So
and I'm so glad that you feel it. I mean, this is hopefully these words are words that there are about feeling. I want you to feel it. That's what poetry is for. So it's beautiful that you feel.
Yeah.
So
thank you. You
yeah.
too.
Well, because can I just say, like, because part of me is a performer. Hi. Can I just say hi, Jay? Thanks for popping in. Hi, Jay. Good to see you.
Hello, Jay. And Jay was saying sorry.
Oh, yeah.
She was saying about like, am I late? No.
Oh, Jay.
There we go. You are here.
And it's a he, so Jay. Thanks.
It's a Jay.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's okay. Yeah.
You are here.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
Well, what was I going to say? Like, I was going to say, like, because I'm so used to performing, like that's part of who I am. If anything, when I perform, I don't get emotional because there's part of me that's about I'm not actually quite connected to what's happening. I'm about making sure I communicate it clearly. So it's quite different. I often don't let myself feel. Whereas I think it's actually beautiful when you let yourself feel. Like it's actually beautiful. So anyway, I just wanted to make that comment.
Thanks for that. And yeah, and Roya just left a comment about I pronounced the lady name. She emailed me actually. Her name was Munis.
Oh, okay.
And I said Anis. Munis Can ببخشید.
Oh, Munis. Okay, great. Okay. Can I just make a few comments about this poem?
For sure.
So this poem, when I came to write it, I don't know, some of you will know the work of Pablo Neruda. And Pablo Neruda is famous for his love poems particularly, but his very surreal images. And so that's what I came to with this poem, that even that first sentence is, the lipness of your liking kisses me into oblivious murmurs. I sort of had these images, and it's more like I had these words and I threw them onto the table and tried to pick them up in different ways. And because they come into you in different ways. So it's quite I tried to use words. I turned my nouns into verbs, and I mixed the way a sentence would normally be put together. So for me, like, yeah, when you came to translate that, because this is a bit different than I normally write, and it's surreal.
Yeah.
How was it to try and translate?
So I don't want to start nagging because
Nagging or bragging?
yeah, it's just like complaining about
Oh,
the thing.
complaining.
Yeah,
Okay.
complaining.
Yeah.
So sorry, yeah, complaining.
Yeah.
Because I just feel every time I talk about the translation of Cameron's poem, I'm like, oh, that was so hard. Oh,
Oh, right.
I died. That's just like, but it's hard. The reality is,
Yeah.
the fact is, it is hard, but it's so enjoyable. I'm really enjoying in the same time. So,
Yeah.
but okay, guys, this one was really hard.
Yeah, right, okay.
It was really hard because that was surreal. That was the metaphors. But like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And do you remember yesterday?
pretty much-
I drew something like, do you mean this? Like with
That's
these
right. Yeah.
words?
I had to do a drawing. Yeah, that's right. But
To
even like,
communicate, to
and even like
understand.
every line, I sort of had to go, well, you could say it like this or like this. But even, I mean, the challenge with that is like, some of those sentences that I've got there, they're just impressions for me. They're like this weird abstract painting that I'm putting things out there. So it was quite hard for me to explain. I sort of have a feeling, but so yeah. But I know by the end, because you worked very hard on this, I saw you again working for hours. She works for hours on these translations. That by the end you were really proud of yourself, and you were just like, you came to capturing it, and you said to me that you were loyal to the poem, so that
Absolutely.
you really tried to capture that original essence.
Absolutely. And except the part in the end, because
Okay.
in the end, Cameron is talking about waltz and dancing, which is like, waltz is basically waltz in the like Western culture.
Yeah.
Is not in like Iranian culture. So,
Right, yeah.
And I was like going to play with the words in the way like, does make sense in Farsi. And actually, Cameron came to me with the idea of, I use Sama and I use Sufi, which is like, the Sama
Well, just
dance.
explain for people in the Western world, we might know it as the whirling dervishes. That's the most common title, where the Sufis, the mystic, sort of like the Sufis, which are like the mystic. It's like the mystic arm of mystic arm of Islam. They dance, and so,
You
what's
should
that
say
word?
that
Suma.
Sufi?
No, the dancing.
Sama.
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 So Sama is the whirling dance that the Sufis
Sama
do.
actually is the name of this dance, like
Yeah.
which is like they hold one hand up, one arm up,
And one
but
down, isn't it?
down, and this is like a connection to the earth, to the God and the
And
earth.
to the earth, yeah.
So anyway, we are not going to the details of that, but I ended up to just like put it in the poem as a like, I changed it to waltz, to the Sama, and I think it did work really great, really good. And I thank you again of Broya for editing this poem, and I really appreciate that. She really helped me. And during the translating the poem, in my experience, it's so interesting when you go through it. Basically, when I sit down, I have an online dictionary in Farsi and looking for the words, and then I'm kind of finished, but I'm not finished actually.
Yeah.
After like a couple of hours, I had a look at it again, and I changed it again. And this poem, when I translated, changed a lot since yesterday. I
Really?
translated, like I retouched it maybe like at least like 6 or 7 times to just get the really, like, I feel that, okay, that's it, and I got it, and I feel good about that. So I mean, if you know another language, go for it and just give it a try. It's so, the joy of doing this is like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Yes.
Why do you think you experience it as joy? Like, is it even just the joy of accomplishment, doing something really difficult, or is there something different?
It's like, when you read it in English, you can understand, obviously. Of course, for me, as English is my second language, maybe the few words I have to have a look, oh, what was this word? I don't know, what does it mean? But, totally, the whole concept of the poem, you get the feeling of it, So, but, when you're going to just translate it to another language, you just like, what he's trying to say, but finding the right word for that is just such a struggle. And that struggle is not annoying, actually. So it's such a big joy. You just like, I know what he's going to say, but I don't know what's the word, and you just like, this. I love that. Just like you using really your brain.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, and I know that when you finished and you were happy, there was a couple of lines that you really like, oh, this is beautiful. So what were those lines that you just were really happy with that sound beautiful in Farsi?
Honestly, at the moment, I love the whole poem. I'm so like,
Okay, that's good.
I'm really good. I like my translations.
All right.
That's it. But, okay.
I know that it was one bit you were going, oh, that is so beautiful, or you're so happy with
Okay,
it. But yeah, if you can't pinpoint that, that's okay.
عشقت درونم سما می کند با واژگانی آراسته به سان صوفی در ژرفای رؤیاهایم.
And I can recognize that. That's the last stanza,
The
isn't
last
it?
one,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think why I really love the translation, because I'm feeling I was so loyal to the original, the poet.
Yeah,
And
right.
in the same time, I could express the feeling of the poem. It's not just like, it's not just a story of loving.
Yeah.
I think I could capture the emotion. And
great.
Yeah, I'm so grateful.
And normally, if you've been watching or listening, you'll know what I do is when I get the translation, I put it into Google Translate, because then I can sort of see what she's done. But this poem is so surreal. Google Translate just had no clue. Like, it was just the Google translation version was just like, it was like I was guessing something.
Google Translation is so stupid, but in the same time, I love it. Because that's the first thing I do. I just put it in the Google Translation, and it doesn't do the good job, but give you the vibe, and you just, and then you are free to play with the words. That's
yes,
it. Yeah.
yes.
So thank you, Google.
And well, I feel like we've been talking a lot about the poem, but anyway, here we are doing our live, doing our podcast. This is what we're here for: sharing poetry, talking about translation. And,
yes. Yes. And can I just answer to Marula?
Oh yes. So Marula was saying how. Oh, she relates to that feeling of translation, because Marula is Greek, and bringing Greek and English together. So
I think you should know about what am I talking about, the struggle.
Yeah.
You should talk about that maybe sometimes, Marula, after this.
All right. So how about, we're going into another poem now. And this is Ahmad Shamlou. Is that okay pronunciation?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
Well done.
Cool. And so I had a look at a few different poems of Shamlou, and Ramak sent me a couple of poems, and we were going, oh yeah, these are good ones, these are good ones. And then there was one that I found, I'm like, oh, I think I really like this. And as soon as I ran it by you, you were like, oh wow, that's a famous one. That's a good one. I'm like, oh, yes. Great. So, right. So this is, and it's just a really beautiful love poem. So why don't we just get into it? Yeah.
For sure. Put your seatbelts on, guys. میعاد. در فراسوی مرزهای تنت تو را دوست می دارم. آینه ها و شب پره های مشتاق را به من بده. روشنی و شراب را، آسمان بلند و کمان گشاده پل، پرنده ها و قوس و قزح را به من بده. و راه آخرین را در پرده‌ای که میزنی مکرر کن. در فراسوی مرزهای تنم تو را دوست می دارم. در آن دور دست بعید که رسالت اندامها پایان می پذیرد و شعله و شور تپشها و خواهشها به تمامی فرو می نشیند و هر معنا قالب لفظ را وامی گذارد، چون روحی که جسد را در پایان سفر تا به هجوم کرکس‌های پایانش وانهد. در فراسوهای عشق تو را دوست می دارم. در فراسوهای پرده و رنگ، در فراسوهای پیکرهایمان با من وعده دیداری بده.
Beyond the borders of your body, I love you. Give me the mirrors and the yearning moths, the light and the wine. Give me the tall sky and the hanging bow of the bridge, the birds and the rainbow. Play that last melody in the same mode once again. Beyond the borders of my body, I love you. In that far-off distance where the ability of limbs comes to an end, and the flame and the fervor of heartbeats and desires completely subsides, and all meaning abandons the shell of words, just as a soul does the body at the end of a journey, leaving it to the onslaught of the vultures of end. Beyond the limits of love, I love you. Beyond veils and colour, beyond the limits of our bodies, promise to meet me.
So do you want to mention who translated this
yes,
poem?
okay. Who is that translated by?
So نیما نبیلی و Frank Lewis and Nima Nabili, because I was looking for Iranian names.
yeah.
Frank.
What's that exotic Iranian name of Franca Luisa?
Yeah, Nima Nabili and Frank Lewis, they translated, and I think they did a really good job. I really like the translation.
Like in English, it's got some really long sentences, but it's so beautiful. Like sometimes when you read translations, you know, you feel the difficulty they've had coming into English. Whereas for me, this was so fluid. So that's a good translation. It felt really fluid and natural in English. I mean, it's really poetic, as in really open, and imagistic, as in using all these images.
Yes.
But it, you know, the essence of poetry, and that line, you know, beyond the borders of your body, I love you.
در
Beyond,
فراسوی مرزهای تنت را دوست
yeah,
دارم.
so beautiful, and beyond
iconic
the
too,
borders
like,
of my body, and
I
then
think it's the core of this poem. And
sorry,
maybe
go on.
just I'm not sure if you were with us last week, and but yeah, that was from Ahmad Shamlou, one of the contemporary poets from Iran, and he's such a famous international poet, and as we said before, he's a kind of really influential poet in Iranian poetry, and that's his poetry is beautiful. And this poem, actually specifically this poem from his book Ida in the Mirror. Ida was his third wife, and so he actually wrote the book for her, like she wrote so many poems for her, and this is one of his poems for her. And you know, you can feel it is so emotional. And other poems he has been wrote it for Ida. They also beautiful, but we picked this because it wasn't like too long, and you know,
this is beautiful. I just love it.
And this is like, we call it, I realize that this kind of poetry, we call it شعر سپید, which is white poem.
White poem.
Yeah, which is like in English you call it bulk poem, or
no, like so
bulk verse.
Free verse, or maybe blank verse. But this is more like free verse. Yeah.
Free verse.
Yeah. So basically, and what that means is that it's not using a tight structure or constraint. Because if you're writing a ghazal or a sonnet, they have really clear definitions of even like when you rhyme, even the number of syllables in a line, where this is when poetry in the 20th century started to break out of those constraints. And it is actually, like, people think, oh, well, it's so easy then, you know, you don't have the constraints. But actually, constraints help you. And when you move out of the constraints, then actually it's harder, and you're using much more subtle musicality of language. So some people think free verse, that must be so easy, but actually really successful and really good free verse is harder to write.
Is that because you still need to just keep the balance, kind of? You cannot.
I think it's hard. Like, suddenly the balance has to be more intuitive. Whereas if you're writing a sonnet or maybe a ghazal, then the structure helps you find that balance. Whereas if you're writing a free verse, you have to feel it, and you have to really listen to the music of the words, and it's harder to write a really successful free verse poem. So that's my thoughts on that anyway. So
Yeah, it's just so beautiful. But yeah, we call it white poem, which is
which I really
does
like.
make sense.
It,
in
like
English even.
white poem, that totally makes sense to me. That's right. I like that word, that term. So
white poem, and that was
yeah.
our poems for tonight.
Yes.
People, beautiful people.
And so thank you. Oh, look, we've had 16 people, which is really nice. Thank you. Thank you for popping in.
Hi, Cheers. How are you?
And Gwendolyn, thank you for being encouraging.
Thank you so much
and
for coming.
I know you've been keenly watching as well. So thank you, Gwendolyn.
Yes.
So, and Roya, hi Roya again. Oh, well, yes. Good. And because the thing is, like, the thing I don't know, because I don't speak Farsi, I can't tell if Ramak's doing a good job. So, you know, if there are any Farsi speakers, make sure you tell Ramak she's doing a good job. I don't know. I think she is.
I'm so confident.
No.
I'm not.
No, she sounds good to me. It sounds beautiful. But for those Farsi speakers, make sure you, like, and look, also me, just give us feedback. I mean, look, every artist wants feedback, and we would love feedback. Like, whether what you think of the poems, what you're thinking of the podcast, but also even poems. Like, particularly, of course, we're doing poems from Farsi. If there's some really poems that you love by Rumi or Hafez or modern Iranian poets, you know, we'd love to hear them, because I would love to read them, and then maybe we can do it as one of the episodes. So we'd love your, I suppose, feedback and interaction, because that makes it more fun and exciting for us as well.
Yeah, we're still doing this because in the beginning, yes, if you remember when we started, that was just I think Thursday. On Thursday, we decided
Thursday
to
night,
do it on Friday.
Yeah.
And I think that's what artists doing normally. They do not have any plan. Just feel it. We just feel it, okay? We don't just feel it, but we just feel it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it wasn't a plan thing, and you know, during the isolation in Melbourne, we did that, and we're still doing I think we really, personally, I really love to keep doing this, because I'm going to miss people, even if I back to people and see them. I'm gonna miss this live. I'm gonna miss this energy, and I'm gonna miss myself even.
Oh, okay. You can miss yourself. Like, miss this manifestation of yourself in this moment. You know.
Yeah, and drinking and everything is just, it's such an amazing experience. It's so good, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
So, and I will say, hey, if you think you know someone that might enjoy this, make sure you share it, okay? So whether it's sharing this live version or sharing the podcast, please do share it around, and, you know, spreading it around, the more love, the better. And
yes. And in the end, I saw the comments. Thank you so much, guys, for your beautiful comments. And I saw Radio Obama.
Oh, yes.
And they just left a comment. And thank you so much, Radio Obama. radio, Bama Radio,
Yeah.
which is like we had an interview with them. They approached us for having an interview,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was a
Which
really
is
like
great, yeah.
privilege. We had an interview today with them, and thank you so much. And keep sharing us.
Yes, great.
We
And
love you.
I just saw Peter made a little comment. Thank you for appreciating what we're doing as well.
Yes. And
So I think we're done for the night. What don't we do is do a little, I've got a little bit of my drink left.
yeah, and see, I didn't drink all of my wine.
No, you
I
can
still
keep
have
drinking tonight.
Something inside my wine. I think
Oh,
it's a fly.
There's a fly. It just adds some protein. That's all.
I can have it.
We can still do the cheers. So you have been watching Persian